Infirmary Media.
Now tuned in to the Selling Out Podcast.
What it does is reaches into your brain chemically and locates your happiest memory chemically, and then locks onto that emotion and freezes it chemically, and then it keeps you happy.
Hello, and welcome to the Selling Out Show. I am one of your hosts, David Schultz, and by my side and my partner in crime is, nobody. Okay, now, this is normally the part of the show, the introduction, really, where I say hi to Nate, ask him about his week or what's been going on. Unfortunately, he has taken up sick. He's going to miss this episode, and the reason for that is he's having a major back issue. And when I say major, I mean it. This is coming from a guy who's had a couple back surgeries himself, and if you ever had any form of back pain throughout the course of your life, you know it can really be a bitch. So Nate is laid up, he's completely bedridden, and I am going to try to take up the reins of the show, at least, for this episode. So I'm going to kind of give some observations about some things that I've seen lately, and my opinions on some stuff, and plus I will be joined a little bit later on in the show by a good friend of mine, Chris Sheehan. He's been on the show also in the past, and we're going to discuss conspiracy theories, more specifically things that have been kind of hitting the social media networks lately, and just really suspicious stuff, if you ask me. Considering Nate is down and out, I want to suggest something that could really make him feel better. It is a little bit self-serving, I suppose, but in the best interest of the show, hey, what am I going to say? It just works. And that is supporting us in any way that you see fit. Now, we're not the type of show that has a Patreon that goes begging for money, but you know what we could use and what we do appreciate? iTunes reviews. Because the more that you review a show and leave some positive ratings, it allows other people to also locate the show and hopefully, if we're doing our jobs right, enjoy it. Another thing you could do is follow us on social media. On Twitter at Selling Out Show, or on Facebook at Selling Out Show 1. You can write us an email and let us know what you think, sellingoutshow@gmail.com. Or if you want us to hear those sultry sounds that come out of your throat called your voice, you can leave us a message on our voicemail line at 774-701-1993. Any of those ways are a great way to engage us, let us know what you think, and again, it's support. It really is. You may think throwing money at us is a way to do it. Yeah, that would be great. I'm not going to lie to you. If you want to do that, be my guest. Another thing would be shopping with our partners. That's another great way to show the support of the show. But, I mean, the number one thing for me is I want to know what's going on with you. A lot of people out there do podcasts. They're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. I mean, come on, there's a podcast about knitting booties for your kitten, for crying out loud. Any kind of topic you can think of. For everybody out there that does produce a show, spends countless hours trying to plot or script or edit or anything, behind the scenes, making the sausage, if you will, we want engagement. That is so huge. It's so important to get an email or a tweet or something. Not even just saying, oh, hey, good job, man. Those are also nice, but suggestions or ideas for future topics, any of those things. I want them all. I'm literally going to, right now, reach my hand through, see those earbuds you listen to? Here comes my finger. I want direct access to your brain. So please, do that. It'll make Nate feel great. He'll probably bounce up like fucking Tiny Tim, say, God bless everyone, you've cured his back ailment, and you know what? You just made my motherfucking day. So, without any more pomp or circumstance, well, I guess this is a little bit. Let's cue the segue music so you can hear about all the crazy stuff, that random junk that has been rattling around in my noggin. So the other night, I'm laying in bed loafing, preparing myself for some restful sleep, hopefully, if everything goes well. And on television, there was The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And his guest that night was the legendary member of the Beatles and, of course, great solo artist in his own right, Paul McCartney. So being a fan of his music and everything, and just rock history in general, I decided to lay there and watch the interview. But one thing it really kind of drove me mad. And it was a question that Stephen asked him about his celebrity, his fame, and how it affects him and how, he kind of maneuvers life and views the world, basically. I think I just made more of it than Stephen actually did in his question. The point is, though, that Paul McCartney responded by basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'm still just the same kid. The same kid who used to watch his celebrities on TV, but now I'm in a grown-up body. And it struck me really hard. It's such a simple response and everything else, but where he kind of said, okay, I am still the same person inside that I've always been. Now, mind you, Paul McCartney has been famous for a really fucking long time. He has money piles upon money piles, like dive into the stash like Scrooge McDuck, swim around, spitting out the coins, the whole nine. I'm not someone who's ever been rich or famous. If you're anything like me, there was a point in your existence where you thought that, basically when you were young, more or less, where you believed that you would grow up to become rich and famous, whether it was a rock star or an actor or, now we kind of use celebrity loosely. Politicians now are celebrities. We turn that into the whole circus of politics. Something that I don't believe in can make you a celebrity. Social media, like influencers. Like who the fuck, how can you influence anybody? Just taking fucking photos of you holding something, saying buy this. To me, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. But anyway, I digress. Even with those aspirations, I've grown up basically poor. Really, I've been middle class, I've been poor, but I've never hit that threshold of any form of celebrity, obviously, since I'm doing a fucking podcast here. And I'm not trying to make any less a podcast. There are very famous podcasters, too, but I am nowhere near the ranks of like a Mark Maron or these comedians that do some great shows like Bill Burr or what have you. So I stopped and I thought about it, and I go, it's a daydream, really, or is it night? So it's like just me kind of fantasizing here. Imagine if I had that much fucking money. Imagine if I had all that notoriety. How would you handle that? Who would you be? One thing is for sure, and I kind of pinpointed this right off the bat as my thoughts kind of got away from me there, was if it was ever going to happen to me, I'd want it to be now. Paul McCartney got successful at a very young age. And good for him, because again, when I just mentioned stuff like influencers or politicians or whatever, this guy, he fucking worked his ass off. Even as a kid, jamming out with the bands, going to all the clubs, touring. I can respect that. He made it. And I know some people might say, oh, well, the Beatles were the first boy band. That's fucking bullshit. They weren't created by a record label, put together because of their looks or appeal to girls. They just fucking knocked the girls out, man, on their own, They were just, I guess, dashing young dudes with some killer tunes. So I can respect on, how he made it. I get it. I like it. But if I had gotten famous when I was young, which I wanted to do, I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted, girls to fucking pass out when they saw me, even with the ugly mug that I have. I would have fucked it all up. I really would have. There was no way in hell you could have handed me that kind of money or give me any kind of form of celebrity, and I wouldn't have killed myself on drugs or, just OD'd, because that's what I was into at the time. I really kind of romanticized that lifestyle. My idols were those that lived fast and died young. So I probably would have made a very drastic mistake. Back to now, I'm 41 years old. I'm a mellow human being. I enjoy my family, my creature comforts. I don't have any thoughts of grandeur where I need like a golden toilet seat or basically copious amounts of cocaine in my life. I would just try to enjoy the simpler things and feel good in my security, knowing that I never have to worry about bills. I can go out and splurge a little bit. Again, not hookers and fucking, crystal methamphetamine or anything, but I mean, just knowing that I could buy a house wherever I wanted to buy a house, those kind of things. And also, I wouldn't want the money to kind of go to my kid's head, my son, because you see all these fucking rich pricks who raise these fucking douchebags. They've never had to work a fucking day in their life, who don't understand how society works as a whole. Of course, they become those fucking people that I mentioned earlier, influencers. Okay, so all this being said, how, I would want to live a moderate lifestyle and really not try to overdo anything or overindulge. That's just money, right? That's just the cash part of everything. Having the bank account. Fame is something that we all want, we all seek in some level. And even if you don't believe that you do, yeah, you kind of do. If you like Twitter, right? And you tweet, you get happy when you get likes. For you, that's like a recognition or a reward for, putting something out in the world that people enjoyed. Same thing on Facebook or whatever, Instagram, whatever social media platform you prefer to use. Maybe you like all of them. I don't know. But that's like validation to so many people. And again, let's go back in time here. In my youth, I wanted that, and I didn't want to be forgotten either. I wanted to be validated as being a creative person, that people enjoy what I do. They genuinely like everything that I put out there. But then I also wanted to be, invited to fancy places, and all that stuff sounds so fucking great at the time, when in reality, here I am yet again looking back and going, geez, that's such a superficial, shitty thing to ever desire or want. If I was a celebrity now, I think, and this would piss off a lot of people, I'm sure, I would want to use that as a platform to do something good for other people. And of course, you can say, oh, Dave, man, that's so easy to say because, for one, you're not a celebrity, you're not rich or whatever. And then, two, you want to come off as this soft, loving human being who wants the best for all the other citizens of the planet Earth. But, I mean, one thing about becoming a parent that I'll say, it softens you. It really does on the inside. And you start feeling the plight of other people more often. I know, thinking even on my own past life experiences, I was raised by a single mother. I don't believe they get the credit they deserve. We seem to want to reward people for the wrong things. We put them on a pedestal for the wrong things. For example, to me, why is Kanye West famous for, even to begin with, for writing a song or rapping, but now just being a complete and utter fucking psychopath, but yet some single mom that's just working God knows how many jobs just to make ends meet? Why is that person less valuable than the person who could just fucking rap? It makes no sense to me. We really do, as Americans, I think even, as society as a whole, celebrate the wrong things. Sure, we say support the troops, support teachers, do this, do that, but how much do we, in fact, put our money where our mouth is? Or not even the money, just our actions. We can go blue in the face saying they deserve all the great things that life has to offer, yet here we are years later, and they're still suffering as much as anybody else. Yet, oh shit, that new song just dropped. I can't wait to fucking buy that download. I'm kind of going in the weeds a little bit. To get back onto the point I was trying to make, is if that I left my house and everybody was snapping pictures and wanted to know what I thought about this, that, and every other fucking thing, I would want to put forth an agenda and an image of myself true to my belief system that I have now, having suffered for as many years as I have. I'm not entirely sure you want to hear about all the issues that matter most to me. I kind of just went off on that little rant there about single moms not getting the love and attention that they truly deserve compared to a recording artist, for example. The whole thing is just a stark contrast, a really big difference. Just talking 20 years here about what I would have done with this kind of social currency, this power, then compared to now, because of course then I would want to live to the excesses and just be a complete and fucking total asshole. I would have enjoyed that. I'm not lying to you. I would have loved it. Now I would despise that. When I see people doing it, I say, come on, use your fucking brain. Think you're more than this. You can do more than this. Don't be a fucking slouch. So I guess kind of like to wrap this whole thing up, it's just such a foreign concept to me. What is fame? How could you handle fame, fortune, all of that, really? I mean, how would you deal with it? If tomorrow, just out of the blue, you became famous, okay? I don't know if there's a fucking genie in a lamp or you actually did something creative, whatever. But let's say you had it. What would you do with it? It's fun to say silly shit. I get it. I love saying silly shit. Hell, it's what I do on this show every 2 weeks. What would you do with that kind of social currency, with that kind of power? It's food for thought. Speaking of which, I could really go for a ham sandwich. Hey everybody, want to take a quick break from the show to talk to you about one of our partners, Spunk Lube. Now, Spunk Lube is a personal lube for sexual adults. And I understand some of you may be just a little bit shy, but trust me, if your love life has grown just a wee bit stale, Spunk is here to save it. While Spunk is endorsed by many professionals in the adult film industry, it's also made for average Joes like you and me, you know. I only endorse products that I know, I trust, and I use. So I can confidently say to you, Spunk is easily the best lube out there on the market. It's made in 3 varieties, hybrid, pure silicone, and natural. Plus, there's a variety of sizes you can choose from. Also, it's easy and discreet to order. Just visit spunklube.com. Don't let your love life wilt. Have a wild weekend, order some spunk, and you can thank me later. Don't forget, that's spunklube.com. I'm sure if you're a viewer of the morning news programs or just like looking at random headlines on your phone as you scroll by, whatever, you know, your news feed, maybe you get one, I know on my phone it's like a Google thing and it kind of gives me the headlines of the day. And, you know, those are in fact striking when you read something that says vaping kills. Unfortunately, I find that to be greatly misleading, and something that's angered me to no end are these vaping bans, because vaping has helped a lot of people, myself included. I guess you could view this in a way as a testimonial. I was a lifelong smoker. Smoking is a dirty, filthy fucking habit, which is guaranteed to kill you. There is no way around that. If you were even lucky enough to not get cancer from smoking, you're not a healthy human being. All the crap that you're putting into your body, all that tar and all the formaldehyde and all the other poisons that are in there. Vaping is a healthy alternative, and mostly if it's marketed correctly as smoking cessation. Okay? It's either to help you quit smoking so you can switch from those stinky smokes and go to vaping instead, or just, hey, you can't stop, do this, okay? It's not going to, again, put those toxins into you as cigarettes would. Recently, just this week, it has been announced that vaping was banned in my home state of Massachusetts for 4 months by the governor, Charlie Baker. Charlie, what the fuck are you thinking, man? Okay, 4 months. What are you going to do with that 4 months? You're going to explore, try to see what the dangers really are, why people have been suddenly coming up with lung illnesses. And I believe, and don't quote me here because I don't have the numbers in front of my face, I want to say maybe anywhere from 7 to 10 people have died. Now, from what I have read, and I don't just look at the headline here, I actually go into the articles trying to, find some actual information, which is strange in 2019, I'm sure. But it seems that most, if not all, of the incidents come from these cartridges, okay? Some of you also may be familiar with these because Juul is the most popular manufacturer of these electronic cigarettes. I call them electronic cigarettes because it's not like what I would use. I use a regulated box mod. There's many different ways, different devices out there. But these are especially dangerous in Juul's case because they market them to kids, which is an old cigarette company tactic, right? Back in the day before the advertisements were banned, they tried to make smoking look cool, enjoyable, relatable to any kind of event or situation in your life. You can smoke after you have a meal. You can smoke after sex. It doesn't matter. You're at a picnic with your family. Light went up. You're in the doctor's office. Hey, there you go. Juul follows the same, I want to call them predatory tactics, and that's why kids are so attracted to that. which is wrong, okay? And the majority of the people getting sick are, in fact, teenagers or younger people. Now, back to the cartridges in question, a lot of them are these THC cartridges, or they're basically black market stuff. It's not regulated material. It's not regulated product. This is crap you get off the street or stuff that you're buying from China that isn't locally made. You really can't trust this stuff, but, hey, it's cheaper. Maybe it's easier for you to get. Maybe you're underage. I don't know, but they're buying this shit, and people are, in fact, getting sick. Have no doubt about it. That is legitimate. People are getting sick from these cartridges. Problem with the ban is no one really understands the science of it. I mentioned earlier, the morning shows. I saw a segment the other day where they showed some scientists essentially proving that smoking is so bad for you compared to vaping. They like to do this test with cotton balls in these like glass encasements, and they pump in the smoke into one from the cigarette, the other one from the vape. I think it's like 4 packs. It could be, it doesn't even matter the number, because even after 1 pack, you'll see the cotton balls from smoking are fucking just disgusting. Brown, gunked up with tar, oily, everything else. While the cotton balls from vaping come out clean. So I'm like, great. This is a great way to lead it off. Let's not demonize a fucking industry for what a seldom few are up to. But then, at the end, they had another scientist who was experimenting on rats. And what he was trying to say was, okay, it's cleaner, or it looks cleaner by those other tests to smoking, vaping that is. But in 25 years, it's going to fuck up your heart. It's going to cause stiffness in your arteries and yada, 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 and everything else. And listen, I'm not trying to shit on his report. I mean, what do I know? I'm not a scientist, okay? I'm just basically going with how I feel as being someone who's vaped now for 5 some odd years, who used to smoke, and I feel fucking great. I also understand the perspective of parents, because apparently vaping has become an epidemic in schools. When I was a teenager back in the 90s, guess what? Smoking was an epidemic back in school. Kids will always rebel and do things that they're not supposed to do. And they want their hands, their grubby little fingers on the stuff that they are not supposed to have. I don't want my kid to vape, ever. I really don't. What's the point of it? I don't want him to smoke. I don't want him to start smoking, so then you need to turn to an alternative to stop smoking. Okay? But I understand the panic. I get it. Still, to demonize an entire industry and ban the practice of something in your state for 4 months is equally as dangerous or as harmful as handing a vape cartridge to a child. I say this because, okay, you're going to close all the vape shops. Hardworking people are going to be out of a job. Their industry, essentially, for 4 months is dead. And you can say, yes, you just said 4 months. It's not forever. It doesn't matter. How the fuck are you going to earn? How the fuck are you going to put bread on the table when you're out of work for 4 months? The other thing is, if you are, in fact, an adult who has awareness of what you're doing, vape safely, only uses products that they know that they can trust, you're fucking up shit's creek, man. I haven't fully read all the stipulations involved in this ban. That's bad on me, because this is kind of like breaking news, as far as me getting my information on it. But I can only pray that you can still order stuff by mail. Because if you can't, holy cow, you're turning the responsible folks to guess where? The black market, where all the dangerous shit is already fucking being bought and hurting people. So what's to gain? I mean, really, what is to gain by a 4-month vape ban? I suppose maybe some public support from, again, could be nervous parents or just headline readers that think, this shit is fucking out to kill you. But I mean, come on now. Really, think about it. How many things in this world should we really be outraged about, so angry about? For Christ's sakes, if you've ever listened to this show before, you know how mad assault rifles make me, yet you can still fucking go buy one if you really wanted to. Fatty foods, you could fucking buy 2 liters of Pepsi and drink them down and fucking, have a fucking heart attack, for crying out loud. Everything, cigarettes. Before I even get ahead of myself, cigarettes. You can still buy cigarettes. Oh, Lord. They may not be killing you right this second, but they are, again, without any doubt, going to give you fucking cancer, kill you, and destroy your life and your family. Yet, you can just stroll on down to 7-Eleven and buy those fucking no problem. Yeah, they're a little pricey because it taxed to fucking Timbuktu. But you know what? That's what it's all about. The money. Follow the money. And that kind of leads me to think, well, if vaping had better lobbyists, this would never come to pass. There'd be somebody squashing this whole issue right now by slipping an envelope into some frickin' congressman's pocket out there in Washington. But alas, whatever. Here I sit, angry because there's an industry out there that I care about, I love, and I know has done me personally a whole ton of good, going through a bunch of shit right now. And you know what's next? I live in Texas. It's coming for me. That's what's next. It's inevitable. It's bound to happen. Because just like a snowball that you roll up and let go down a fucking hill, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Even if less people get sick, even if less people die, you know, the whole thing is now it's in the public consciousness. There is no jury. There is no trial. Right now, the science isn't even pinpointing to exactly what is causing the problems as is. They know it's black market. They know it's a bad cartridge, but what inside of it is actually harming people? Is it a liquid thickener? Is it THC itself? Is it how it's being manufactured? We just don't know. But in the meanwhile, all the things that we absolutely, without a doubt, concrete evidence are aware of that will fucking destroy lives, no, give that fucking shit a pass. It angers me, I'm a little bit infuriated, and hopefully, given time, it will not stand. And now I am joined by Chris Sheehan of the Cosmic Treadmill Empire, a podcasting empire, if you will. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today to break up the whole monotony. I can't even speak. The monopoly. How about I just say that instead? It's easier to say.
I love Monopoly.
Instead of monotony, I say monopoly. But anyway, for breaking up the whole thing of this episode of me just talking into a mic about what the hell is bugging me.
Certainly, no problem. I appreciate you having me on, and this actually interrupts a game of Monopoly I've been playing since like 1994 that hasn't ended yet.
How far did you get? How many properties do you own?
I've never figured out how to put houses on them. I don't know. The houses are still in the box. Haven't taken them out.
Oh, at least they're still in the box. I was afraid you were playing with somebody who was eating them or jamming them up their nostril.
No, but we are using different denominations of coin instead of tokens because they're all gone. So I think I'm the nickel.
What token? I didn't even know there was tokens. I thought it was all paper money.
No. I'm talking about like the little dog and the thimble, and they're gone.
Oh, those.
So we're using
okay.
coins.
Okay. Now I understand.
Certainly.
Whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But you know what?
Me either.
I do want to talk about. Great. We're perfect to both be on the air right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about something in particular being conspiracies and conspiracy theories. I personally am one that doesn't really trust the government. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't go too far. I don't like looking for like national treasure symbols in like the dollar bills or something like the eye above the pyramid means that Big Brother's watching me or...
Mm-hmm. And the owl in the corner and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But I do have a general mistrust of what I'm being told. How about you?
Sure. Oh, I'm there with you. Not to the no tinfoil hat extent or anything, but definitely, I feel like we are not getting all the information that, frankly, we might not even need it. But I definitely think there's stuff we're not being told, and there are machinations going on. Yeah,
how about Bigfoot, Loch Ness?
I'd like to believe in them just because I'd like the world to be a little bit more fantastical than it is. Yeah. But reality sets in, and I don't think that actually exists. It would be really, really cool, but nah.
Is there one conspiracy theory that you've heard throughout your lifetime that you really think, you know what, that one's got legs?
You know, I was just reading the other day, and I can't remember it, but it really affected me.
Okay. It bothered me. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it bothered the hell out of me.
It did. It made me think, and I don't remember exactly what it was. As we go on, if I can figure it out, I'll share it. But there have been a few that have. Oh, there it is. The Matress Firm. The fact that mattress firms are on every corner sometimes there are 4 mattress firms on 4 different corners, all facing one another. There was the theory that came out, I believe, on Reddit, probably 2 or 3 years ago, that Mattress Firm was basically an elaborate money laundering scheme, because how many people need to buy mattresses? You know, even here in beautiful, hot Peoria, Arizona, we have one corner of one of the main roads here that have 2 mattress firms facing each other. It's like, how many people need mattresses? And there's a lot of deep conversation on this. And the more you go into it, the more you really can talk yourself into thinking like there are some shady people behind the Mattress Firm. I think they're right now owned by a South African firm. And there was a little bit of controversy at the head of that firm and whoever was CEO of Mattress Firm at the time of the purchase. But it's all very interesting food for thought. And if you let your mind wander a bit and start wondering, like, you know, you buy a mattress maybe once every 8 to 10 years. How many people need to buy a mattress? And every time you go in there, it's empty.
I was thinking
it's very seldom.
Maybe it was the mob or something, because you're talking about like
Perhaps.
money laundering, not like a South African whatever. But, you know, that is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard of this, but that is so bizarre. Like right across the street from each other. That's almost like in Massachusetts, Dunkin' Donuts, where there's one like on every corner.
Yep.
You can't walk 10 feet. Like, I need more coffee. Good Christ, I can't live without coffee. Why are they so close together?
It's true.
You know, why are we so desperate for the Java, if you will?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, these mattress firms here are more plentiful than Starbucks's, and Starbucks's are the ones that are, you know, cliche, you know, they're everywhere. You can't, you know, there's one in your bathroom right now. There's everywhere.
Right.
But these mattress firms, it's just so weird because they're such high dollar things and they're never busy, but they just keep popping up and they keep having these, they keep having grand opening signs and banners on their windows. It's like, you've been here for 30 years. How is this a grand opening? You know, I don't understand it. And, I don't know. It's just, maybe there's something to it.
Under new management.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. I'm going to have to Google that because I never heard of that before. That's a new one for me. And over the course of the week, I discovered yet another one that I found very bizarre. This is kind of making the rounds on social media. And it has something to do with birds. And birds are a creature I don't really think about very often.
What are birds?
Birds are they're essentially dinosaurs, if you think about it. My son, who's a big Jurassic World dino head, informed me. He's like, Dad, you want to see a dinosaur? In these times, just observe a bird. I'm not going to get all into that now because I don't really have much information on it. I don't want to sound like an idiot more than I already have. But no, they are these winged creatures that fly through the air and, you know, they land on Snow White while she sings or what have you. But there is a website out there that's recently made the rounds called Birds Aren't Real. Have you heard much about this at all? Is this like a Mattress Firm thing or is this new to you as well?
This is pretty new to me. I have some very, very slight knowledge, passing knowledge of this phenomenon, but I cannot speak to it eloquently. Okay,
well, you know, let's do this for the listeners right now. I'm going to play a little bit of a clip of one of the members of Birds Aren't Real explaining the cause, and then we're going to come back and discuss a little bit about what he has to say about it.
Excellent.
All right, maybe you've seen the billboard near the Highland Strip or heard the story on Wednesdays Live at 9. A campaign called Birds Are Not Real brings its efforts to the Mid-South.
And this morning we are joined by one of the messengers of the movement. Peter McIndoe is here to tell us how this all came about. We want to emphasize you were not the founder.
No, ma'am.
So how did you become aware of it? What is the message of the movement?
The message of the movement is essentially to spread awareness that from 1959 through 2001, the government mercilessly genocided over 12 billion birds and simultaneously replaced them with surveillance drones in disguise that film us every day as equally as these cameras are filming us right now.
So this is really satire. I mean, you don't really believe that happened, correct? This is a satirical campaign to make the point that what? You're looking at me like, no, it's not satire. I really do believe this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive.
Okay. So it's not satire.
I don't think you would say that if I said birds are real.
Are lawmakers, though, really taking this seriously? Because a lot of people will have their doubts or have their questions about whether or not the movement is really serious or not.
Yeah, that's been a really hard part of this, honestly. Since the billboard's gone up, there's been a reaction of supporters and loyal bird truthers coming out, saluting, bowing. It's almost become like a sacred pilgrimage to see it. Others, though, seem to have some kind of laugh response, and it really pains me.
All right, so, this is only audio, so you can't really see the guy. Or you can't see him at all. What I was saying, can't
Lucky
really.
for you.
Lucky for you, yes. He is one grubby-looking motherfucker. He doesn't look like he's bathed recently. He's got some patchy beard thing going on.
Sorta, yeah.
Sorta, and I think you can kind of tell by the tone of his voice, he's not completely fully there.
No.
But, that being said, do you think there's any validity to his claims that the government has destroyed birds and replaced them with drones?
I hate evoking the "it's current year" thing, but it's current year. And this is the world where we've had this like digital divide where it's possible for any stoner idiot to kick up enough dirt to make it look like smoke and then scream that where there's smoke, there's fire. So, and then it starts gathering momentum, and the weirder it is and the more LOL random it is, the more it starts to build up. This is just so dumb.
Yeah.
I've owned birds, so I'm fairly certain, unless, the government was watching me. That's possible. They got the cameras in the eyes of these birds, and they're watching me go out through my daily business. But come on.
So did you ever own like a parakeet or something? What did you own, a parrot?
A cockatiel and a parakeet.
Did they talk?
Back in the day. I think we talked ourselves into thinking they talked.
Okay.
Like any noise they made, it's like, I think he said hello. No, he just went, bleh. But,
well, I was going to say, it said like, Polly want a cracker. It's actually like a government message, a subliminal message that goes into your brain and controls you.
It just said, consume.
You bought a drone bird. This bird is controlled by the government. Yeah, geez Louise. But maybe you did buy a drone bird. We don't know.
I might have. I should have taken it apart.
Autopsy the fucking
never
thing.
Thought
yeah,
about
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
When it died or something. But it's definitely something I've never considered. I've never looked up, saw a bird, and thought, oh, that's Big Brother. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have the cameras on the street lights and things like that to watch us. I mean, we're under surveillance all the time. Constantly. Our cell phones. I mean, I'm the guy that turns off the camera on my apps.
Sure.
Because I'm afraid, like, someone's going to listen to me. As boring as my life may be, they're still trying to get my routine and what I like and what I don't like to try to sell me shit or, who knows, possibly destroy me. I have no idea.
You never know.
But to think these birds are flying around watching me just seems really far-fetched.
Absolutely. And, the government, you put two government officials in a room, and I don't think they could agree on how to make a pitcher of Kool-Aid. And they're gonna figure out the flight patterns of birds. Really?
Yeah, that is weird. Plus, you'd think they'd be more concerned about the environment to keep up the ruse.
Of course.
Of the birds flying around. But yeah, I don't know. Like you kind of said, like any stoner or anybody who gets the little laugh or chuckle. Yeah. They're gonna, the ball's gonna start rolling, and not even necessarily people are gonna believe in it, but they're gonna think it's funny or just that ludicrous.
Sure.
They will support it.
Of course, they'll tout it. Everybody wants to be part of something, and the sillier the better. And this clown, and the fact that an actual local news broadcast had this idiot in their studio. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was just for the laugh, because I mean, like you said, this is an audio thing that we shared with the listeners. But I mean, this guy was making some odd claims, and the interviewers were making some very, very entertaining faces in response.
Well, they asked if it was satire, because that's what you think. Yeah. Is this like an article from The Onion?
Exactly.
This can't be real,
But he stuck to his guns. But there's just something. He's got that millennial tone of voice where it's just like everything's kind of sardonic and everything's kind of lol random, and you just want to punch him in the face, first of all. But
yeah, right.
It's the fact that they're even entertaining this as a as a potentially serious news item.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the idiot paid to have a billboard, as far as we know. Really? Is that all it takes to get your message spread? I mean, come on.
How do you pay to get said billboard, posted? If you go to their website, which I happen to be on right now, the front page is all trying to sell merch.
There you go.
That's what it's all about. They're like, not the message or anything. I mean, there is a little button, who we are.
Yeah.
But I mean,
our story. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's really just to sell $29 t-shirts.
There you go.
So they don't have to get a fucking job or whatever. But because I am such an inquisitive guy, I clicked on, who we are and all that stuff. Like I say in the tabs. And I guess I'm just going to read you this excerpt from their website and how it all started. Just to give you a little context, I guess, to where this whole theory may or may not have spawned from, if it is indeed a legit concern about these fucking birds. But anyway, they write, on June 22nd, 1959, Operation Water the Country was born. This was to be the secret code name given to the program from 1959 to 1976, when it was renamed to Operation Very Large Bird. I don't know when Sesame Street premiered, but they really missed the boat on calling it Operation Big Bird.
That's true.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Even in parentheses here, they wrote, the individual in charge of naming the program didn't want to get in any copyright trouble with the popular PBS show Sesame Street. So there's my mouth going before I even read. These guys have every fucking base covered here. Let me just continue reading it. Within the next 16 years, 15% of the bird population was wiped out. During these first few years, bird prototypes were released by the 100 million. The term drone was not used at this time, and instead they were referred to as robot birds.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. They didn't want any conflicts. They didn't want Jim Henson suing them.
It's true. Children's Television Workshop is madly litigious.
Especially with secret projects of the government in their names. It's like, oh my God.
For sure.
This is supposed to be some top fucking secret CIA organization that we don't know about, but yet we don't want to be fucking copyright sued in court.
No. We remember the big hassle of Operation Mickey Mouse, and that was not a fun time.
Disaster.
So,
Absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Well, that's
what got Nixon impeached. It's bad deal.
Yeah.
Bad deal.
Watergate, nope. Wasn't that at all?
Operation Mickey Mouse.
But the thing here is, as funny, I didn't even bother to read the whole thing before. I'm like, oh yeah, they fucked up by not calling it Big Bird, and sure as hell, a sentence later, there it is. But I mean, again, we live in a day and age where kids eat Tide Pods and do some of the stupidest fucking shit to gain attention on the internet. So I guess in one way I kind of envy them because they're getting like engagement, interaction. They're on the news, everything else, which is, I mean, amazing. That's a success story in itself. My concern is the poor fucking schmucks that would believe any of this and probably run outside with a shotgun shooting birds on the telephone wire, being like, you're fucking watching me, get away from my property, or, whatever the case may be here.
Yeah, people will believe. There's always going to be someone who's going to believe anything. I mean, we've seen a lot of movements in the past, our entire lifetimes, that seem far-fetched to us, but are part and parcel to a belief system for other people. I don't want to name names or nothing, but it's there are a lot of movements out there that have a lot of steam and a lot of lucrative ways of getting funds, and to some of us, it's just like, well, how does anybody even consider that that's a real thing? And this one has the element of being, 4chan-y enough to sweep a part of a generation or part of a internet consumer base, but I don't know. It's
well,
just, I think you hit the nail on the head with the t-shirts. I think this is a way to supplement or replace the need for this fella to go to his third shift Circle K shift tonight.
And now, man, I didn't think of it because I don't want to go to my third shift at the Circle K. Shit, this fucking guy, he nailed it, man. What a great idea. He can just sell these fucking crummy t-shirts, make a fucking fortune, and fucking trick people into believing that there are robots living in the sky.
Sure. Absolutely.
But anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about that, unless there's anything else you'd like to add. Maybe I'm talking to you and you're a drone right now. You kind of look robot-y. Does that make any sense? Robotic? Or I just make that word up, robot-y?
No, my beard is not symmetrical enough to be a beard, to be a robot.
Oh.
So if I was, I'd look a lot cleaner than I do right now, a lot more sharp. But alas, no, I'm just a man. But of course,
yeah.
If I were a robot, I would probably tell you I am just a man. So it's I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. I don't know what I am, and neither do you. So it's all relative.
It is all relative. You know, and since you were so nice to come on and talk to me a little bit about fucking birds and drones and conspiracies and everything, why don't you take a minute, if you are in fact real, to promote yourself? Let us know where we can find you, your content, all that good stuff.
Certainly, but one word of advice to the listeners: if you do start a silly thing online that gets enough attention to where you're asked to be on the morning news, please take a bath before you go on the news. Because all you're doing is making your cause look even stupider than it already does. You're not doing your cause any favors by refusing to bathe, brush your teeth, brush your hair, and going on television. You just look... You look like something that should be mocked. And whether this guy should or shouldn't be mocked, you look like you should be mocked and perhaps punched in the face.
Hey,
but,
you know what? Hey, let me stop you there. I know I just said promote your stuff, and I'm like, wait, hold on, don't do that. But you just said something that reminded me of something I watched this morning, where there was a trial, a local trial here in Dallas about a police officer who shot her neighbor.
Okay.
And one of the key witnesses, they showed a clip of him on television, and he goes to court wearing a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt.
Nice. Was it a button-up? Was it like one of those button-up airbrush ones?
No, it's just a fucking whatever t-shirt. You get a Hot Topic
that
or whatever.
Ain't classy.
No, well, none of it's classy. But what I'm trying to say to you is, like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, you are a key witness in a fucking murder trial. Your testimony carries weight. Yet you go to court wearing a fucking Dragon Ball Z t-shirt. What the fuck's the matter with you?
No, it's interesting. They say to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So maybe he wants to be, I don't know, a clown. I don't know, but you see that a lot where you're up there before the judge and you're wearing like a tank top, or you're wearing a torn stained t-shirt. It's like, come on, dude, you're trying to put your best foot forward here, and you look like you crawled out of the dumpster.
It's terrible.
Oh,
all right. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Promote away, plug away. Tell us what you got.
Certainly. You could find me talking over at the Chris and Reggie channel. It's chrisandreggie.com. We have a slew of programs over there. The flagship program is called The Cosmic Treadmill, where we look at a different comic from the past, or a different group of comics, bunch of comics, storyline, whatever. And then we take deep dives on those stories, break down everything that goes on in them, talk about the creators, talk about stuff that was going on in the real world that might have influenced the story. We also have other shows. I've got a solo podcast project called Chris is on Infinite Earths. That's named after a blog that I maintain. Just take a look at a single DC comic from the entirety of their publication history and try to equate that, regardless of how nebulous, I try to relate it to something that happened in my life and just share stories. We've got a new program called Mori-Tori Mondays. If anybody's familiar with Marvel Comics property, Strikeforce Mori-Tori from the mid to late 1980s, me and a buddy, Chris Bailey, Charlton Hero on Twitter, are looking at every single issue of that run, breaking it down, and so far so good. Having a real good time with that. We just launched our first episode just a few days ago.
That's a fucking menu right there, baby.
It is. You'd almost think that I have nothing else going on in my life.
I wouldn't think so, no. You got a lot of projects going on, which is great, and that's why I referred to you as like an empire, which I always do. And you may think I'm joking, but I'm kind of not.
We do what we can, and so far so good. We're having a good time, and we'll keep doing it as long as it stays being a good time.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being on. Now get the fuck out of here.
See ya.
It's that time of year again, folks. Welcome to the fall season. The leaves are starting to change, and now so can you. Being addicted to cigarettes is no fun. So if you or someone else you know need help to break the habit, I got a surefire answer for you right now. It's called vaping. And if that sounds complicated, don't worry, I got that covered for you too. The best place to start your journey is at northlandvapor.com. They have an abundance of e-liquids, hardware, and know-how to help you get started. Don't let this be the season of your discontent or continuing with an unhealthy lifestyle. All of Northland Vapor's e-liquids are diketone and artificial sweetener free, so you can feel good knowing that you're not pumping your body full of poison. Leaves a little bit more room for that pumpkin spice, if you know what I mean. So what are you waiting for? Visit their website at northlandvapor.com or come on into their 3 retail locations in South Fargo, North Dakota, Moorhead, and Bemidji, Minnesota. Saving money and saving your life? That's a win-win. Visit Northland today. Some products contain nicotine. Adults only. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The fine, furry person listening to this podcast. How are you? I don't think I address you enough. I don't take enough time out of the show, out of the day, to say, hey, what are you doing? What's up? For example, what are you doing right now? How do you consume podcasts? Where do you like to listen to our show? Some like to drive. It's like a talk show to keep you occupied as you put miles on your tires. Others, you might be in the shower. You might be doing dishes. Who knows? Setting up tent spokes outside because your wife just kicked you out and you need to be entertained. All of this is really, potentially could be very intriguing stuff. But I want to talk about something far more important right now. Me. That's right, I said it. Let's discuss, you're going to be a silent partner in all of this, but, let's talk about me, David Schultz. What do I like? What are my desires? What interests me in general? So where do I start? I've lived a long life. I've seen so many things. So how about this? Let me give you some factoids. Maybe something you didn't know. I'm assuming not many of you know me personally, so you don't know what I look like. You know what I sound like, but that's really just scratching the surface on who I am. Well, let me tell you, I don't eat fruit. Nope, not one bit. You got it. I don't eat jelly. I don't eat jam. I don't eat a whole fruit. If you offer me a banana or strawberry, I'd probably run away screaming. I don't want it. Yeah, I know. Doesn't sound very healthy, right? But guess what? I've made it this fucking far. And it's not that fruits in general are unappealing. I like the smell. I just don't like the consistency of chewing something. Or let's say there's seeds. Oh, God forbid there are seeds. I don't want to deal with that. For someone like me, biting into an orange is the equivalent of biting into a human leg. It's just disgusting. I don't like it. And that's why one of the things that perplexes me the most are fruit flies. Where the hell do they come from anyway? Seriously, I may not consume fruit, but people in my household do, and it appears that the moment that we bring it home from the market, we put it somewhere, and a day later, you would see a fruit fly zipping around. Where did it come from? As someone who doesn't enjoy fruit, I think it might be deeply embedded in the fruit, like those seeds I was talking about. It seems impossible. It can only be some kind of black magic. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, but only to an extent. You see, I'm also very, very cheap. I don't like throwing money around at things. I actually get a hard-on by being frugal. It's something I enjoy terribly. If I can pinch a penny, I'm a happy camper. And this drives my wife crazy. She sometimes, as any normal, rational human being would like to do, wants to go out, have some fancy dinners, socialize with people, have fun. Me? Nope, fuck that. I don't want to do any of that. For one, all that shit costs money. No, thank you. Plus, speaking of socially, the older I get, the less social I've become. Having a group of friends used to be really important to me. Now, it seems more or less that my friends have become contacts, meaning I don't physically see them anymore. A lot of this is due to distance. I do live thousands of miles away from my original friends, but I also have very little interest on making new friends. Well, at least the physical variety. If you were to text me, DM me, PM me, whatever, out of the blue on the internet, I'm more apt to talk to you or strike up a conversation than I would be a stranger out somewhere in public. This could be the sign of something, I'm not entirely sure. Not diagnosed, not by any stretch. In my opinion, I already have all the friends I need to have. Sure, I may only talk to them once every couple of years or see them around never, but they've been established over the years. They get me. They understand me, and vice versa. I can say something wildly rude or lewd around them, and it's not like, clutch your pearls. It's like, that's just Dave. And they'll do the same to me, and I go, you silly son of a bitch. And I imagine myself slapping them on the shoulder, saying, ha, good one, pal. I prefer minced ice compared to cubes. You know, the kind if you go to, like, let's say a restaurant, and they're just a little teeny weeny choppings of a cube. Also, I like to say the word minced. It's a fun word to say. Try it. You ready? Minced. No idea why, but it makes me believe that it's going to keep my drink colder. I like to rattle the cup. It has a better sound. And yet another theory that is most likely untrue. I believe it allots more room for the actual beverage itself. You know what I mean? Everybody's gone to a coffee shop, asked for an iced coffee. You look at the thing and go, shit, this is 75% ice. But if you put minced ice in there, at least there's an illusion that there's actually more liquid in the cup. I live in Texas, but the heat drives me crazy. Not for the reasons you may think. I'm a t-shirt, shorts, baseball cap kind of guy. Low-key. And I hate neck sweat. I hate head sweat. But when you live in a place as hot as where I live, it's bound to happen, baby. Your shirts get ruined, the neck gets all loose and just uncomfortable, your hat gets stained. And you can't just wash a hat in a conventional washing machine. I know they sell the little gizmo contraption plastic cover that you're supposed to put your hat in, but any intelligent human being knows that's still going to wrinkle up the hat. It's just wrong. So there I am washing my hats by hand. But with that, for every ruined neck hole to my shirt, to every stain upon my brow, I never have to see a flake of snow. And this is a good fucking thing. Many years ago, I was leaving my brother's apartment. Now, in Worcester, Massachusetts, essentially my hometown, is famous for something called triple deckers. 3-level homes. In the wintertime, snow and ice will build up on the roofs. Being 3 deckers, they're fairly high. Some of the icicles look at least 3 or 4 feet long. Now I know, if you're from a warm climate place, let's say California, or I'd even know the Sahara Desert, you're going to say, oh God, that sounds so cool. That sounds neat. You're wrong. Dead fucking wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. One day, while leaving my brother's apartment, I was going down the snow-laden walkway, and I realized my shoe was untied. I stopped to tie my shoe. Upon standing and walking, a giant fucking icicle, I mean, the thing looks like it must have weighed at least 50, 60 fucking pounds, crashed a few feet in front of me. And just like any prototypical scene in a movie or anything you've heard in a story, wrong place, wrong time, I did believe that if I had not stopped to tie my shoes, look at my aglets, which are the ends of the shoelaces, by the way, that fucking hunk of ice would have crashed into my head, broke my neck, and I wouldn't be here boring you today. I have a lot of favorite movies. I enjoy movies. I've watched a lot of TV and films in my lifetime. Some are standard fare. Jaws, Back to the Future. A lot of the pop culture iconic films, basically that appeal to anybody of my age. I'll give you a top 3 list of the best movies I've ever seen that nobody ever fucking talks about anymore. 1. Terms of Endearment. A beautiful film from 1983 starring Deborah Winger, Shirley MacLaine, Jack Nicholson, John Lithgow, Jeff Daniels, Danny DeVito, and more. Holy cow, star-studded cast. Just an amazing movie about a woman's life that ends in, well, I can't say, no spoilers, I want you to watch it. 2. Adaptation from 2002, starring Meryl Streep, Nicolas Cage, and Chris Cooper. This fucking film is outstanding, and if you haven't watched it yet, what the fuck's the matter with you? And 3, Boogie Nights by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Mark Wahlberg. This vehicle's another one that has a cast that you wouldn't fucking believe, and it's about porn stars. What's not to fucking love? Watch all three of those people back to back to back, and you have earned my respect. Let's see, what else? Ah, yes. You know, I always lead off the show with hello, 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 and welcome to the Selling Out Show. There is a history behind that. While coming through the door every holiday as a child, my great-grandmother would enter by saying, hello, 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 hello. And it's something that was so unique to me that anytime I hear it or think about just basically saying hello, I think of my Nana. So in a way, I suppose it's a tribute to lead off the show with that many hellos. It could be annoying, I don't know. But I sure as fuck like it, and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Okay, so you're probably thinking this is just filler. Dave, you're wasting my fucking time. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Someday, I may call you and ask you to write a novel about my life, and all of this stuff has to be in there, okay? So pay attention. As a child, I once swallowed a quarter. Yeah, a quarter, 25 cents. Every weekend, my aunt would come to my house, and she would walk me down to the local candy store called Gene Sears, and I would buy Swedish fish. Love them to this day, can't get enough of them. If you don't like Swedish fish, there's something the matter with you. So anyway, my mother and my aunt are talking at the kitchen table, not paying attention to the idiotic 5-year-old laying down on the carpet, and I was balancing a quarter on the tip of my tongue. I know, sounds really stupid, but we didn't have many channels back in those days, so you had to occupy your time doing something. So, sure as shit, the quarter went bloop, slid down my tongue into the back of my throat, causing me to panic, hop up as fast as I could. My mother freaked out, my aunt freaked out, my mom tried to, because at that point the quarter was still kind of like floating around in the back of my throat. I guess to make the story more interesting, imagine it spinning really, really fast. She tried to knock the thing down. It did go down, which was a better alternative to choking. So they rush me to the hospital. They take x-rays, everything else. And they say, all right, let it take its course, go through his system, and, it's going to come out the other end. Don't worry about it. Well, some time went by, and that fucking quarter wouldn't come out. So the doctors said that I needed surgery. They were going to have to cut me open and take it out of my intestines. So there I was, destined to be cut open on an operating table, and the night before, my mom just freaked the fuck out. She grabbed me, picked me up, shook me up, down, left, right, by my ankles. Shake, 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 shake. And wouldn't you know it, the next morning, before we had to head to the hospital, guess what came out? Yep, that quarter. I know, it's kind of gross, but you know what? That was like a big thing in my life, a trauma. I got trauma up the fucking yin-yang. I almost drowned. I was electrocuted. Many bad things have happened to me over the course of my life. But you know what? Memories. Memories are valuable. They mean a lot. Whether they're happy or sad or, a time of misery or even me, I swallowed a quarter. My mom shook me like a fucking rag doll. It's still something that's embedded in you that you'll never forget. And for allowing me to go on and on and on here, just about whatever. If you ever feel the need, I'm here for you. I want to hear about your memories, your tales, all of them. So reach out and let me know a few. Like now. No, I'm sitting here. I'm waiting. Come on! Hurry it up, will ya? I ain't got all fucking day. And that does it for this episode of Selling Out. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I know this episode might have been a tricky listen, considering it's just me going solo, riding the horse alone. Nate, though, wish him a speedy recovery. Let's hope he is back by next episode. I mean, we did miss out on Nate's notes. He is the musical historian, so I didn't really want to, put something together and tread where the master walks. So if you're mad about that, hang tight. It will return. I want to give virtual hugs to each and every one of you. Feel the squeeze. I am Dave. It's me. And this has been Selling Out.
Wake up, you never look so glum. Tell me how we know they can't hear us coming. It's easy for me, I got a head start running away. Keep up for your disease spread quick. So how did you learn to be sick so cunning? It's easy to see, but you just keep on humming along.
Infirmary Media.